What's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories, and I'm going to share one with y'all today. If you like this video, hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Once again, I rap. I've been doing my YouTube for maybe about 2 years. People are still getting at me like, chill, I used to check the stories out, man, but I just decided to listen to the music, and I definitely was impressed. I'm telling you, the flow is nothing like Curtis Blow. Be sure to go to my YouTube playlist, go to gas stations, you will find my music there. Or you can go to my YouTube playlist, and I have my stories organized by different categories and topics, and you will definitely find something that you like. Now let's hop right up into this story. So like I told you guys, I'm from the Inland Empire. Well, what the Inland Empire actually is, it's 2 counties geographically speaking make up the Inland Empire. And all those cities within those 2 counties. So the county of San Bernardino and the county of Riverside. Now, if I understand right, the county of San Bernardino, just by miles and how big it is in the size of it, is one of the biggest counties, if not the biggest county in the United States. And so you have all the cities within those 2 counties, right? So you got, just to name a few, San Bernardino, Fontana, Colton, Rialto, Ontario, Bannon, Riverside, Palm Springs, Desert Hot Springs, Blythe, La Quinta, Moreno Valley, just numerous cities, right, make up the Inland Empire. Now, so when a person goes to prison, if he chooses to, he can function with the Inland Empire, right? He's not forced to, right? You also have several gangs who are geographically in the city, or excuse me, geographically in the Inland Empire, geographically speaking, but they don't claim IE and they don't function with the Inland Empire. It's more of that going on now, but when I first came to prison in 1996, it wasn't too many cars that done that, right? Too many gangs that done that, right? And so anyway, from time to time that happens, right? Now, within the Inland Empire, you have numerous gangs, you have numerous Crips and Blood gangs and stuff. And like I said, when we get to prison, those who choose to, we all function as one united car, and we put away the Crip the Blood thing for the betterment, I guess, of the Inland Empire. Because, to my understanding, when people first came to prison, or started coming to prison from the Inland Empire, you have these cities who wouldn't have a lot of individuals from there, and sometimes they was being victimized by people from larger gangs. So this was formed to protect everybody from the Inland Empire. But like I said, you have Crip gangs, you have Blood gangs, right? And from time to time, you'll have people who come to prison and who don't want to function with the Inland Empire. They'll either hang with the Crips, they'll hang with the Bloods, they'll do their own thing. Most of the time in prison, street beefs are left on the street. You have beefs that may spill over to the county jail because it's less structure in the county jail. But a lot of times when it gets to prison, they'll leave those issues on the streets because in prison, excuse me, you'll have a lot of different gangs who are affiliated and associate and move as one in prison. So if one particular person gets into it, then he happens to potentially get his whole entire collective involved in this beef. And so sometimes it'll be 6, 7 different gangs, maybe going against someone else who has another 10 gangs or whatever. And so for those reasons and others, a lot of times street beefs are left on the streets. Not always, though, because at times you may have a renegade who feels like, okay, listen, man, I don't care about none of that. This dude right here killed my brother, or this dude killed a particular close homie to me, and I'm going to deal with whatever comes with after dealing with this situation, right? And so, and sometimes the way street beefs spill over into prison, if they happen to be in-house as well, that way they can be handled. It can be handled and just remain in whatever car a person chooses to align himself with, right? So like I said, man, I happen to be at CMC East now, and a homie pulled up. Now, when I say a homie, I mean geographically speaking. The homie was from San Bernardino. He was from a gang called Delman Heights, which is a blood gang. So I'm not gonna say his name, but that's where he was from. So geographically speaking, he was a homie. In prison though, he chose to ride with the Bloods. So he didn't hang with the IEs. Now he would speak to some of us. He would talk to some of us and stuff. Me and him happened to live on the same tier, so we had got pretty cool. We talk all the time and stuff, but he chose to affiliate himself with in prison as a Blood, and he pushed with all the Bloods, from Los Angeles, the surrounding areas, and wherever maybe a Blood may be from who associated himself with the Bloods. Now, of course, that particular move right there, it made some homies upset. When I say homies, I'm talking about people who were from IE, who represented IE in prison, because you had dudes feeling like, okay, and San Bernardino is unlike many other large cities that has a large gang presence. You have a lot of these dudes who grew up with each other, who go to the same schools and who had been spending the night at each other's house until maybe they became of the age where they started running in the streets, and maybe he lived on this side of the neighborhood, and so they claimed one gang. Another person may live 4 or 5 blocks away, and they claimed another gang. Or you had people who actually grew up together. You had people on that yard who was from Delman Heights, and they rode with the IE car. Where you had this particular dude who was from Delman Heights, and he rode with the Bloods. So now, say an altercation happened between the Bloods and the IE car. Then this dude who was from Delman Heights, he would throw his hat in with the Bloods, and he would be fighting against dudes from IE. And a situation like that, made just that potential situation made some people who was from IE mad and upset, because sometimes, the same as maybe a white Crip or Hispanic Crip back in the day, that person automatically becomes a target. Now you have people looking to get this dude if something happens, because they feeling like, okay, look, me and this dude, we grew up together, we from the same area, and this dude is gonna run with some people he just met in prison, and he's gonna choose those people over the people he grew up with. And so some people become upset and they feel that the dude is a traitor. And there was a couple of dudes on the yard like that, right? Now Delman Heights, like I said, is a blood gang, and it was another dude who ran with the Bloods. He was from not LA, but from the LA area. I believe his hood and Delman Heights had some type of beef on the streets. Possibly the other dude may have had, he may have lost one of his homies, right? And so this is where sometimes you'll hear me talk about dirty politics. This is where dirty politics come into play, right? So now, once the dude who had lost a homie knew that the dude from Delman Heights was on the line, if you ask me, he had been waiting to find a reason to fight this dude from Delman Heights, right? Like I say, it's dirty politics. There's certain things in prison you're supposed to do and not supposed to do. And when it's certain things, when you do them, they come with a discipline or a DP or whatever, right? And so the dude from Delman Heights, like I said, he was on the yard maybe about a month and a half, right? And so, and I say that to say that it wasn't straight out, or the dude who he ended up getting into it with, who lost a homie, I believe he didn't want it to appear as straight out animosity. Like I say, he was looking for a legitimate reason under so-called prison politics to get into it with the dude from Delman Heights, right? And so eventually, I guess that, eventually he found his way, because one day we out there on the yard, we chilling, and somebody come over, not knowing that the dude from Delman Heights was pushing with the Bloods. He just knew the dude happened to be from San Bernardino, and he said, "Hey man, your homeboy's over there knocked out up under the window." Now it's when you at CMC, they have these cells that are reception cells, and he was knocked out under one of the reception cells over there on the grass and stuff. And so matter of fact, I happened to be kicking it with one of my homies. I ain't gonna say his name either. I happened to be kicking it with him when he came and told us that. Now, this particular homie who I was kicking it with, he was from San Bernardino as well, and he pushed with the IE car. And so he happened to be upset that this dude from San Bernardino came to prison and chose to run with people outside of the IE car, right? So when the dude told us that this dude was knocked out, he was happy to hear it, you know what I'm saying? And so a couple of minutes later, we looked up, or actually, they put the yard down first. They put the yard down. Then a couple of minutes later, as we have to lay down on the yard or sit down or whatever it was, they got the dude who was from San Bernardino. He's being escorted in handcuffs and walked off the yard. And it took him to the hole. We never seen him again. So come to find out, what happened is the dude who we got into it, and I'm going to just call him Big Blood because he was a big blood. You know, this dude, you could tell that he used to work out. This dude probably was maybe about, I'm going to say 5'10", maybe 240, 250, maybe somewhere around there. Real big old giant dude. You could tell he used to work out, you know, in his older age. He got put on some weight. You know, he wasn't getting in as much cardio as he probably liked to and needed to, but he still was an extremely dude. So I don't necessarily know what they got into it about initially, you know, but I believe, like I say, that dude held some animosity in his heart because from the gang that the gang that he was from, I believe one of his homies was killed by somebody from Delman Heights, and I believe he held on to that. And sometimes you know, people still be looking to try to get some get back, even though they're in prison, and certain things from the street stays on the street. But like I mentioned earlier, when it's in-house, you know, people look for reasons to justify getting physical with somebody. So I don't know what was going on. You know, later on, we just got the report. They was just over there talking over by the area where dude that got knocked out from. And as they're talking, all of a sudden, boom! Dude hit him one time, knocked him out, put him to bed on some Jay Holiday stuff. I'ma put you to bed, bed. And left my boy laid out, man. Left my boy laid out, on, you know, right there on the ground. Now, some people may be wondering, okay, well, since the dude, since he's really from IE, can some of the dudes from IE run over there and go help him? No. I mean, well, they could have, but prison politics dictates that, hey, this dude, that's who he has chose to ride with. He has chose his car. He has aligned himself with the blood. So now when they have an issue, only the Bloods can deal with that issue, you know. And so that's why it's dangerous sometimes for, you know, for people who go to prison and, you know, they want to tend to function with both cards, you know. So you always have to make it clear and you know, let everybody know, hey, listen, man, this is who I'm functioning with. So, you know, like I said, it's nothing against him talking to people from Inland Empire and this and that, but you know, when the Bloods have meetings or they got things going on, you know, that's his particular business. And so the homie who I was hanging with, you know, he was happy. He was happy to see the dude get knocked out because, like I said, he felt that the dude had betrayed the people he had grew up with. The big dude, Big Blood, who knocked him out, nobody never said nothing. You know, the dude from Delman Heights went to the hole. He never said nothing. And so he stayed on the yard, you know. But that's how sometimes dirty politics can play a part in something happening to a person. So, you know, when you go to prison, you definitely have to choose who you run with wisely. And like I said, you know, people from Inland Empire was upset because you had people on the yard you grew up with, people who had been knowing you for a long time, or at least knew of your family, and you chose to side with people who only thing you had in association with them was the color of a rag, and of course some who didn't necessarily have your best interests at heart. So anyway, that's a story right there of how sometimes dirty politics in prison can come into play. You know, even though people are associated with the same gang, with the same collective, everybody doesn't always get along. You can have people on the yard from the same hood who grew up with each other. And just because you grew up with each other don't mean that you're going to like each other. You know, you may have unresolved issues from the streets. It may be things going on in prison to make you stop seeing eye to eye. So, you know, like I said, that situation right there at the end of the day, it was a blood situation. And so by prison politics, even if a person wanted to, nobody from the Inland Empire really could do anything because the dude chose to side with the Bloods. But anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.